I am Hometeam Brandon Leak from Sports Radio 680 The Fan. You can hear me 6 to 10 on your morning drive on the locker room with my brothers John Michaels and former NFL wide receiver Brian Finneran, and we try to infotain you and sound like we know what we're talking about. This man this evening knows what he's talking about, and he is such a good person. I know him personally and a little bit professionally, and the guy that you know personally, you're going to get to know a little bit more about him tonight. And a lot of guys like to not say what they're doing behind the scenes, but I can tell you, if you need something and there's an endeavor that involves children or people who are in need, his philanthropic spirit is always on, and he doesn't get credit for that, but he should, as Tim Bailey has always been there for me. So I'd like to thank him. I have been a big sponsor of breast cancer endeavors. As my mother had breast cancer, called on him. He signed some things, and we auctioned them off with a dog and a NFL Hall of Famer signature on, and they raised a lot of money. So, Tim, I really do appreciate you, and thank you for coming here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate all the love. I mean, it's great to be here with you, bro.
Now, like a lot of people, you have husband and daddy duties. On your way over here, you had husband and daddy duties as your son is an aspiring and up-and-coming football player here locally at Holy Innocents. Tell us about that, as daddy had to come here after making sure his son had what his father had to give for him today.
Well, to be clear, I'm missing practice right now. He doesn't really like that, but, they should have a cakewalk this week, at least in my mind. But, fortunate enough for me, he wants to do everything I did. But, actually, he says he wants to do everything Travis Hunter is doing. I'm like, okay, cool. That's the modern champ. All right, we can roll with that. I mean, I'm a Travis Hunter fan, so it is what it is. I'm not going to shape his mind. I'm just happy that he loves to learn from me, right, and allows me to teach him what I've learned all my career. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position.
Now, he knows you as his father. Does he know who you were, what you did, and how you made things difficult for the other sons of mothers in college and the NFL?
Well, thank God for YouTube. So with YouTube, we have everything out there. So yes, he's researched, he's done all that. He's trying to do everything that I did. Right now, he's not as a good basketball player as I am. And he's not as big as I was, or at least as fast and explosive, but he's carving his own path. Let's just say that.
To that point, there's a big discussion on parents and players focusing on one sport. You were a fantastic football player, but you also dabbled in other sports. As a father, what is your message to your son who aspires to be a talented football player in high school and maybe with aspirations beyond, with other endeavors that have sports DNA printed on them?
Well, when you're an athlete, you're naturally going to gravitate to some sport. Okay. Like whether it's running or cross country. It could be anything. It could be wrestling, lacrosse. Fortunate enough for me, he's doing everything that I did. Basketball, track, and football, right? Football's primary. And as a 10th grader now, it's starting to become the thing, right? So everything is all about helping football, right? So he started running track last year as a freshman, first year running. He's doing that because he wants to get faster for football. So last year, as we discussed, we go to a school, Holy Innocents, with a great basketball program. He played basketball JV last year. Now the writing's a little bit on the wall. You're not going to compete with these guys because they have next level basketball players on the team. So he's understanding, okay, maybe I just need to train in the winter and get ready for track in the spring. So his mind, I don't oppose playing one sport if you're really good at it and you're not really, really good or not having fun doing something else. My thing is just don't ever take time off. Like when you're not doing, if he doesn't play basketball, he'll be training for football or something, because I'll be training some other kids. I don't know how I got pulled into that. I just can't help myself. But a lot of kids want to come to me for tips. So he'll just be right there soaking it up with those other kids. So that's kind of been our first off season he's had after his freshman year. now we're going into it with probably a better plan on how we train and get ready for track and then ultimately football in the fall.
How is it as a father watching your son play? Now, thank God, I haven't seen you on any Instagram or TikTok reels jumping out fence, screaming at a coach, screaming at a ref, anything like that. But what's it like when you're watching your son being coached by other people who are trying to develop them like you had to be coached by other coaches in your career?
What I coach him at home mostly. So when I'm at the school, at practice or whatever, I'm usually focused on the other kids because I know what he knows. Like, I know him in and out. He knows what I'm telling the other kids. So I don't really have to say a lot to him around the other kids because everybody else need to get the knowledge I got too. So I spend more time trying to coach the other guys because one thing you realize at the high school level is there's not a lot of experts in the building. So, I mean, it's just a reality, right? There's just not a lot of experts. So fortunate enough for me, he has a head coach that welcomes my time, welcomes my presence, and I won't resist.
That I was going to ask you. That has to be intimidating as well. If Champ Bailey, he's got a gold jacket. He's in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. The College Football Hall of Fame is there. And there's something that went on in a game or something in practice. Some people could be intimidated by that. How does that relationship work when you have all of the accolades you have, but you would just like to impart wisdom without overstepping boundaries?
Look, that does exist. But I do feel like that doesn't exist here, though. I don't feel like it does.
That's good.
I think the head coach sort of sets the tone for that, right? He's like, man, I appreciate everything you do. Come anytime you want, leave when you want. It doesn't matter. We want your presence. So I just take advantage of it. And I know the kids love me being out there because every other coach is yelling at them. I'm the one that comes and pulls them to the side like, this is what he means. I never backdoor coach. I just emphasize and try to communicate it in a different way. Because a lot of times the coaches are coming from school and then they're now at practice. Man, that's a lot. I don't ever want that lifestyle where you got to deal with everything in the classroom and then you got to come to the field and deal with all that chaos. Because the mental health issues are real. Like all the things that these kids deal with, it's a real thing. So I'm seeing it play out. And if I wasn't out there, I wouldn't know this. So I'm always prepared to, and a lot of these coaches don't understand too. Like you can't coach everybody the same. Like it's nuance. Like some kids gravitate to certain things, so you got to figure out what works for him. And they don't have time for that. They don't have time, but I do. So I'll make time for it. It just depends on who it is.
So something you just said. My question was going to be why. Why haven't we seen Champ Bailey coaching at college and high school in the pros? When did you decide that coaching was or was not for you?
Well, when I played. And, what you realize is when I show up to practice, the coaches are already there. When I leave, they're going into another meeting. I'm like, no, I want no parts of that. So it's a lifestyle, especially at the pro level. In college, it's even worse because now you got to go recruit and offer money that you don't even know exists. But, there's just a different dynamic to coaching at that level. I don't want that lifestyle. I played 15 years in the league. That's long enough.
Well, we'll get to the state of college football, being a father, NIL, players getting paid, because you certainly would have made a pretty penny had those opportunities.
Oh, yeah, they still owe me. I'm going to get my money.
Had those avenues and opportunities been available for you. But recently, off of a college football weekend that was phenomenal for sure, where are you with your fandom? Georgia down on the road in Knoxville, Tennessee, a place that you have played before, more than 100,000 folks from Rocky Top screaming, and they come back and do them at the end in overtime, 44-41 to keep the streak alive. Where were you? How do you feel? And what does that mean for a former player to come up with a win like that?
It's everything. And it's a little different for me because 9 years in a row, right? Now, me and Kirby played 3 years together. My 3 years at Georgia, we went 0-3 against Tennessee. I mean, they obviously had Peyton Manning, T. Martin right after that.
It was a different SEC.
Yeah, and they were a different Tennessee Vols team. So dealing with that, and dealing with Jamal Lewis now that I see all the time, rubbing it in my face, and T. Martin when I run into him, those guys they definitely let me remember that. But 9 in a row, that feels really good. And I'm just happy that Kirby's actually out there leading the team right now.
What do you see from Kirby Smart now that you saw as a player? Because he was a solid player, and he was an assignment-ready player, but to be one of the greatest coaches right now in college football and on his way to be one of the greatest coaches of all time, what do you see on the field as a coach that you saw as a player?
You know what? When we played, he was always that guy in the meeting, just telling us how much we're doing wrong, telling us what to do, from a coverage standpoint. He was my safety. So as a corner, we always we communicate with the safeties more than anybody. So, whether it's getting lined up right or, anticipating movement or whatever it may be, he was that guy that got us lined up. So when we're in meetings, he was, to be frank, he was really an asshole. I'm sorry, but that's who he was. So you can see a little bit of that on the sideline. I don't know if y'all pay attention to him, but he's a little much. But when you really peel back what he's saying and what he's doing and where he's coming from, this dude just loves football and he loves to win. So you can't frown upon that. I don't care how he delivers the message. You just know where it's coming from. He's a winner.
And buying in, having his personality, it can rub you the right way or rub you the wrong way.
Yeah, not everybody's built for Kirby. Right. That's why they recruit the way they do. They get certain players that just want to play ball and be great at it. That's why most of the guys that leave, they go be successful pros, because the main thing for them is being a great football player. So they want that knowledge. They welcome that coaching. And that's what it's all about. That's why the money is a little tricky now. And I think I told you this earlier. If they could just take the money out of it, and I'm not saying the guys don't get paid. It's more just create a baseline of what they should get. And then if they can earn more as they go, because you're promising 5-star athletes, let's just say $1 million, and then another $250 to make sure he honors his commitment. What? He hasn't done anything for you. Now, he gives you hope, but until he shows up and outplays that 3-star that's in front of him, why would you pay him more than the guy that's actually playing? So, to me, the system is a little skewed, and they'll get it right at some point. But right now, it's just all over the place because you can't recruit for the reasons that you should recruit for, right?
The pay to play is not the way it was supposed to be.
It's not. It doesn't help the kids in their development. They're still young kids. We all know when we were in college, we had no idea what the hell we were doing. Right? They still like that. Nothing's changed.
You're still a young man. You aren't fully developed. You're not grown.
Now they got hundreds of thousands of dollars and don't know what to do with it. And it's misleading them about what's important. And when what they really need to focus on is developing and learning how to be a great pro, whether it's on the field or off the field.
Well, what you said is how Kirby implements his war chest.
Yeah.
You're going to get a little something, but don't come in here asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. If you demonstrate that you do better, you get a little bit more. You're not going to come in here as a freshman and certainly get more than a junior or a senior.
I know for a fact it happens at a lot of schools. They just, you see the schools that come poach players. Texas Tech did it in the most crazy way I've ever seen. They just went and got guys from everywhere. They
paid everybody.
And redid their stadium. They did everything. They're trying to buy wins. And to me, it's not sustainable because those same guys that you brought in are really going to probably take off if you don't win it all. So it's just a lot of turnover, no consistency, stability. And that's what really matters, being in a stable environment where you can learn and grow.
As a father, if your son, which he more than likely will, get some offers and have opportunities to go to different universities and schools and obviously have an opportunity for NIL and monetary compensation, how would you, as a former pro and a guy who sees what he likes and doesn't like, how things are set up today, approach those conversations with coaches, outsiders, or businesses that want to put money in front of your son?
Well, I'll take it as it comes, right? You know, I don't want him to turn down opportunities, you know, to network and get to know people and understand business, financial literacy, all these things that are important in a development process. That's really what it boils down to. Now, he wants to be a pro player. I mean, I think that's great for every kid to have these dreams to be a pro player, but they got to understand they got to build their foundation first. Like, get the right information, understand how to train, take care of your body. That's the things that he's learning now. Like, he's really learning how to do that now at an early age. So when he's away, it's not foreign to him, because they'll put it in front of the kids. But what happens is the kids don't take to it because they're not ready for it. Something doesn't go their way, they don't know how to deal with adversity. So it's so nuanced. Like, there's no one way to do it. But one way that you can mess it up is just take the part out that's important, and that's just the development part.
He's Champ Bailey. This is Libations with a Legend, as part of a joint endeavor with First Horizon Bank and Sports Radio 680 The Fan. So now that the Dogs are where they are, how do you feel about the rest of the season? You have a situation where you're 3-0. Alabama is the biggie. They have been the boogeyman for the Georgia Bulldogs during Kirby Smart's career. Your impending remarks and opinions on the upcoming biggie between those two programs.
I look at it like this. You know, Bama's had our number, right? They beat us last year, but when you think about the end of that season, they were at home, we were in the playoffs. So it didn't carry a lot of weight. I think I said that at the time, like, that game is not that important at the time. And that's just the way the playoffs were set up. I was like, we could still go to the SEC championship. We could do all these things that we ended up doing. But now, you know, when you're in it and you're looking right at it, it's like, I think it's very important. For one, you have an inexperienced quarterback. Our DBs aren't playing that great. Well, let me be specific. Our cornerbacks aren't playing that great. We saw the bombs. I mean, everybody watched Tennessee. Bombs over our head all day. That's unacceptable. So for me, we got to figure out how we get better as we go. Gunner has to be better. The line has to be better, offensive line. Our defense is good, but outside, it doesn't matter if you're giving up 70-yard bombs. So we just got to understand, like, what it takes to win games and just keep building on that. Kirby definitely built the culture there that resembles, you know, the understanding of how to win. But there's so many young kids on the team, so they all got to learn and buy in. So it's always a challenge for a coach to try to figure out how you get the young guys along. But it really starts with the guys that have experience. And usually we've had a quarterback that has experience. This year we really don't. Now, he is a little older. He's not a freshman. But still, there's nothing that can replace experience on the field.
When you talk about experience, people have expectations. Your thoughts on the world has changed. Social media, instant gratification. Fans want to know what's going on right now. When you see other quarterbacks, and look, whenever you play at a major university, you're just going to get more attention. That's just what comes with the deal, because you get that limelight put on you based on what has been laid down before the people that came. That being said, when you see the criticism, and it gets to your next line of work, the criticism of, you know, quarterbacks that are still developing, but they're treated like pro players, and when they don't perform or execute, what are your thoughts on how young men have to deal with criticism playing at high-profile programs?
It comes with the territory. You know, that's what I go back to what they did in high school, and, you know, what was the system like then, because that's what prepares you for that. Right? Like, when you step onto a football field, you got to understand everything you do is under a microscope. There is no other business where you walk out from, I just call them big meetings, right? Like, big practices are big meetings. Immediately you go to the locker room, go to the meeting room, and watch everything you just did. There is no other business that does that except football, basketball, pro sports. Pro sports is so detailed. So you're always under a microscope. So that should be part of it. And that's, to me, like, how you become self-aware of what you're doing wrong. You shouldn't have to have a coach tell you what you're doing wrong all the time. Like, there's some things you learn as you go, and some things that'll be new to you. But the good ones, they know the mistakes before the coach even has a chance to tell them. And see, that's sort of what I'm doing with my son now. Like, what did you do here? I'll ask him questions. I don't just tell him what he did wrong. Like, why did you do that?
What do you like about college football? Just the overall state of college football, the way it is presented to everybody now.
Oh, I mean, it's great. I mean, I think when it comes to game day, it's just the system itself needs to get to the part where you got real significant structure. And, I mean, structure is going to demand the behavior, right? So how we structure this thing around these young men and women, I mean, because it's more than just college football, that's what's going to determine how they behave and how they ultimately have success or failures down the road.
What don't you like? What needs to be modified
the structure.
in today's game?
It's just the structure, how they pay, the compensation. I just don't feel like it's there. I mean, we've kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. It's just you got to get to the point where you take the money out of it because we're still dealing with young men and women. They're so young. They need more than just money. Money's great. Like, I think that's good that they get paid. They should. They earn it. But at the same time, you just can't just give it to them and then hope they do everything right.
Now, what's going on in your life? Now, what I've seen over time, the old Nick Saban rat poison conversation where,
what are you talking about?
athletes over here, locker rooms over here, media is over here. Now, sir, you are a member of the media. Inform us what you're doing in a daily or weekly basis when you get a chance to get on TNT and become one of my brothers now as a member of the media.
See, I'm not in the locker room. I'm not doing all that, right? I'm not on the road. I'm not a color commentator. No, I'm a studio analyst in a controlled environment. I'll switch from football to basketball, right? I'm in a controlled environment. There's AC. I'm not in the sun like I am now, but it's all good. So for me, I love talking about the game. So that satisfies me. But what I do realize is like people want to hear what I got to say. So why not keep talking? And that's just where I am. I don't care what the players think. I mean, whether they like it or not, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Now, it was a little different because
I'm not negative though. Like
there you go, and that's what I was getting at. The criticism that you have to do as an analyst, as a player, there was no social media when we were coming up. You had to wait to see what somebody said on the local news or in the paper. Yeah. You had pretty thick skin, so it was a little different now. But every day, the 24-hour constant news cycle, somebody with a podcast in their mom's basement, somebody on ESPN has something to say, and it might not be what you want to hear. How do you absorb that as a former player where now you do have to, as part of your job, criticize?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody controls what I say. So, again, I'm not negative. Now, I could talk about something that went wrong, but more or less, like, it goes back to these players should know when they mess up. They should know what the mistakes are. Like, it shouldn't take. Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Oh.
That's the power of the fan, 680 fan right there.
Cool. Instant. That's like AC. Thank you. Oh, God. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I see some people that try to get under players' skin. Like, what are you doing? Good thing for me, the only interaction we have with players at TNT, I mean, so people know, I'm a studio analyst with TNT. We cover the Big 12, so I'm getting to know these other teams across the country a little more than I wanted to, but but it's a great gig. So the only interaction we have with players is we'll play the player of the game and we'll do an interview, and that's the only interaction I have.
All right, so a limited interaction. Do you have concerns about, like you said, you're not worried about what people say, but sometimes when you do have to look at something and it's going to be something, even if it's the truth people don't like, do you think about that as a broadcaster now, as a former player who may have seen some things that you did not like said about you?
I never worried about what people were saying, but I will tell you in an instant, a former teammate of mine was still playing. I was retired, and I said something like, I hope he doesn't play anymore, because he had like several concussions. I was like, I hope he doesn't play anymore because I'm tired of seeing him laying on the turf. And then all over social media, or at least in my DMs, people were just like, well, you should mind your own business. And, why are you talking about his career? And I'm like, damn, and I thought about where I was coming from. I was like, I just care about the guy. So I just, okay, whatever. You just gotta just let it roll off your back, man. It's nothing. I mean, there's so many people watching the game, and so many people got something to say. And then there's also the aspect of, hell, that could have been some bots, online.
Right.
So,
you're arguing with a computer.
I don't know. Somebody just trying to poke the bear. So it is what it is.
To that point about criticism, when you see somebody like Arch Manning, you are in a family where, you and Boss Bailey were well known at the University of Georgia, so you have a family pedigree. Your thoughts on Arch Manning, where his pedigree goes back to his grandfather and goes back to college and the pros, and then his uncle in college and the pros, what the enormous challenges of him not only to deal with those outside conversations, but to also be a quarterback at the University of Texas.
Yeah, I spoke about this on the air, so I'll repeat this a little bit and be a little more candid. I thought it was wrong that everybody pegged him as the Heisman favorite. I'm like, well, what are you basing it off? Like, what are we talking about? Just because he was a 5-star athlete coming out of high school? Like, well, what has he done to warrant that kind of title? Like Heisman favorite? That's just, it's not realistic. But I did not expect him to play as bad as he's been playing. So, so I was a little bit right, but at the same time, like, that's not the Manning that I'm used to seeing, right? Like, Eli was great, Peyton was great, former teammate and nemesis. Look, I think he's going to right the ship at some point. He's not a senior. He doesn't have a lot of experience. At some point, he'll probably get it right. I'm cheering for him because I love his whole family. I mean, I worked with his dad. I mean, I picked off his uncles. So I'm connected.
Champ Bailey here with our Libations with a legend, presented to you by First Horizon Bake. As a great athlete, you're soaking up and absorbing information. You have that on the defense. When you're playing with Peyton Manning, who is that kind of guy on the other side of the ball, what do you learn from a player like him?
Well, just how to lead. And it's really leading by example, but be in command. Now, I was a cornerback, so I don't really have that role. But I think it came down to, like, meetings and things like that where people are looking at me because I had seniority. Now, we're just a year apart. So when I played with him, I was on the back end of my career. My last 2 years, I played with him. So I was able to kind of learn that. I just wish I had it 5 years earlier where I could really benefit from it. And, it was an unfortunate timing, but at the same time, I learned so much. And we stay connected more now than when I played because, we're both on the other side of it. We're both in the Hall of Fame now. He went on and won another Super Bowl with my team that I was not on. But I applaud him, man. Had a great career, great people, man. So, it is.
How do you describe the chapters of your career? Washington, Denver, all money's not good money, champ. Saints.
Hey, I never played for the Saints.
We're going to let that one slide.
I never played for the Saints.
All right.
Sean Payton cut me right before.
All right.
I was old. I was done. My feet were done.
All right.
Honestly, it was more than I could have imagined it would be, and and it's really a testament to the work I put in. I mean, I grew up in Folkestone, Georgia, a town of like 3,000 people. Like, look, anything outside of there was success in our mind. Like, that's still the mindset. I mean, nothing's really changed. You go to any rural town across the state, it's probably the same as it was 30 years ago. So. But then I go to Georgia. I grew up a Dawg. Then I go to the Redskins and learn from one of the greatest to ever do it, Darryl Green. Mm-hmm. The next year, I got Deion Sanders on my team and Darryl Green at the same time. So when Deion comes, I'm like, okay. I call my coach, like, am I going to start? Like, what?
Wow.
He was like, yeah, one of them coming off the bench. Like, I'm like, oh, really?
Is that the first time you had doubt? I mean, you were a stud
Absolutely.
player. Wow.
Those are my idols. Like, those are my idols. Like, I grew up watching them and idolizing them, especially Deion. Now, and Darryl, just because my dad used to talk about how fast he was, and he was still fast when I got there. So, for me, that part, propelled me to my Hall of Fame career because I learned how to work, just how to watch film from those two guys in my first 2 years. And I made my first Pro Bowl my second year with both of them on my team. And they applauded me. And till this day, like, I still keep in touch with them. I work with the company that Darryl Green works with. Deion Sanders just offered my son a scholarship back in the spring. So they still look after me, even to this day. So they've been everything for me. That was just the first part. But after that, once I got traded to Denver, Mike Shanahan basically, I overheard him telling somebody, yeah, he's the best defensive player I ever coached. And I'm like, damn, didn't he have Deion in San Francisco? So I'm just thinking back about all the players he coached. I'm like, damn, that's a lofty compliment coming from a guy like him that's won multiple Super Bowls. I was blessed, man. I actually played and was on the team with a lot of great players. I played with Bruce Smith. A lot of Hall of Famers, man. It's John Lynch, Brian Dawkins, all teammates of mine, and I learned from all of them.
And it all started in Folkestone, Georgia. What was it? What is the decider? It's always different, the decider that gets you to choose where you go play your college football. What was it about the recruiting, the trip, Athens, the University of Georgia for that opportunity?
Had nothing to do with it.
Interesting.
I grew up a Bulldog.
Oh, you were just down from the jump.
Now, I did play around so I could go. Now look, I didn't just commit right away. I had to go take these visits because, again, I live in Folkestone. I'm trying to get the hell out of town. I'm trying to take these free trips. I took a visit to South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Auburn. And then I ended up canceling my visit to Florida.
Good for you.
Yeah, right at the end.
Smart man. You're smarter.
I played them because I knew I was going to Georgia, so the whole time. The whole time I knew I was going. But fortunate enough, I met Takeo Spikes on my Auburn visit because he was coming off his freshman year, and a guy from his hometown was a highly recruited athlete, and we all hung out while I was there. And now I work with Takeo every week. So it's funny how football works and brings people together. But for me, man, I was always a dog. It was no question I was going to Georgia.
Anything we don't know about you? I did not know you're in the Kentucky Hall of Fame. This guy was born in Kentucky, and now that's what you're supposed to.
My dad was in the Army, so he was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and that's where I was born. And I spent maybe 18 months in Kentucky.
All right, that's it. Now you're Hall of Famer. They're claiming you.
I don't know. I guess they found it in my bio. They, scrubbed the internet and found out.
Did you take the call and accept it?
Frank Minifield, who was a cornerback in the league, he called me. I just did whatever he told me because, again, I looked up to guys like him. And he was the chairman of the committee that was selecting these Hall of Famers, and I was fortunate enough to be one of them.
What do you see when you see NFL cornerbacks? It seems like the rules today in the NFL are all geared towards the offense, and they want offense. As a former defensive player that took pride in the defense having impact on the game, it seems like they just want you to get a stop or two, and that's good enough for entertainment. How do you feel about the state of the NFL and how it's officiated and played?
I think it's good. The game has to evolve. I don't feel like you could just be the same all the time. I think you have to evolve. I know the owners want points. Fans want points, so they're going to make it easy to get points. That's just how it is. But there are some corners out there that could have played when I played. There's a few. I would say about 7 or 8 that could have played when I played and been great at it, because they figured out how to play with technique and, how to be consistent with their technique. And once you learn that as a corner, the sky's the limit if you're a good athlete.
We've tried drafting and prayer for the Atlanta Falcons. What do you see when you see them trying to
what
make
do I see?
What do you see from your Pro Bowl Hall of Fame eyes?
To me, it all goes back to culture. Like, what is your culture? Like, do guys come to work and want to win? Do they put the time in? It's the little things that you don't see. And as a fan, because I sit on the same side you sit on now, it's frustrating to see them lose a game in the beginning of the season, right? But to me, I think they made the best decision they made after he missed that kick was bringing somebody else in.
Young Wade Koo missing the tying kick against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I was not going to identify.
I mean, you're a member of the media now. People have to be held accountable, champ.
But I was not going to identify or call his name, but I'll let you have that. All right. But so for me, that's somebody texts me within the organization and say, man, what do we do with him? You got to bench him. You got to let them know losing is not accepted. So to me, I believe that's why they play so great against Minnesota, because they kind of set the tone. Like, we got to show up, or our asses could be on the bench. That really it ignites a winning culture. I don't know if they're there yet. You got to sustain that over time, but that's where it starts. I mean, the defense, man, lights out the other night. Young quarterback, I get it, but man, they were lights out the other night.
What's it like when you have a career you look back on, you know, where you stay in, where you stack up, you hear where you're going to be, either not or close to being a Hall of Famer, and then you get closer, make it through the weeding down process, and then the call comes. Take us through the process when you find out you get a chance to become one of the immortals and get the gold jacket.
You know, I tried to do it. I can't remember who told. It was somebody told me, like, the work is done. Like, there is nothing I can do to put myself in the Hall of Fame at this point. This is 5 years after. First year eligibility. And I had a few people say, I don't know if you're going to get in. I mean, these are some Hall of Famers, some former teammates. Like, I don't know. Like in my mind, like, what the what do you mean I might not get in? Like, so that's what made me worried, because these are my friends and, you know, my former teammates telling me this. And they're just doing it based off what they've seen, you know, because they don't always get it right. How does T.O. not get in on the first ballot? Well, that's what let me know it's more than just what you do on the field. And that's sort of how I carried myself my whole career, even at Georgia. It's just how you treat people, how you carry yourself in public, building bridges, not burning them. So there's not a lot of people that can say they've had a negative experience around me. So I think ultimately my game got me in, but it was really the people, because who votes? It's writers.
The writers who cover you.
Right. And the ones that are around us all the time. So they saw all the losses, all the wins, the moments we're up, the moments we're down. Like, they saw all of it. And it's all about, how did you react? Did you show up for that interview and answer questions after a big loss? I did. So I think that's ultimately what really just made people say yes, when they should have said yes anyway, right? But but I know that's just life, man. I just feel like that's the way it is. Like, if you build bridges, you know, good things will come, because people will remember that. People remember all the time. So I think ultimately that's what, you know, made people say yes.
Where do you think that starts? A lot of that is who you are genuinely. And I've gotten to know you later in life and later. And you are a genuine person. The guy you see today is the guy you see at the gas station. But where do you think people who need a little coaching, where do you think, whose responsibility is that if that's not innately in you? High school, when you get to college, you know, when the pro situation shows up, they're just ready for you to perform. Where do you think that should show up to help people who might need a little bit of media training?
It's the circles you're in, the teams you're on, you know, the leaders you're around, the mentors. Like, that's why I always say that, because it's something that you can control 100%. Like, no matter what, in any environment or interaction with anybody, you control how you behave. So, you know, a lot of times, I don't remember 90% of the people I meet or met back in the day, but I just know that I didn't shit on anybody, right? So, you know, and I know that. Like, it's really that simple. So just do the little things and don't be an a-hole. Like, just don't be that.
I'm paraphrasing Maya Angelou, but to your point, you know, people may not remember everything you do, but they will remember how you make them feel.
Yep, and I take that to heart.
And that is something that a lot of people
very familiar with that
can
quote.
Carry on. When you talk about now where you are, like myself, a man that's you know, over his 40s, we've taken care of ourselves physically. Have the same workout program clearly. What are the things you do in the morning? Sir, you look like you could still go out and make an NFL roster.
No. No. If I jump right now, I would tear my Achilles. If I ran fast, I would pull a hamstring. Like, that's, no. No.
A lot of athletes, all the weightlifting, they're tired of it. They don't want to go near a weight room. They'll just do some light cardio. How do you keep yourself? Because you are physically fit.
Well, genetics. My granddad is 93.
All right.
And he's still getting around.
All right.
So, and he's still small. So, and everybody when I was growing up told me I looked just like him. Like, so I think I got my genes from him. I mean, my younger brother, Boss, he's the same way. He's slimmed down. He looks like he can still play, but maybe not linebacker, maybe receiver or something, But for what it's worth, man, it's genetics. But also, I do work out. Like, I work out at least 4 days a week, mostly cardio, light lifting. But I do it on my own. Like, I refuse to have a coach telling me what to do again. Like, I just refuse to do that. I had enough of that, so those days are behind me. But, if you don't know what you do or you're not self-motivated, I recommend anybody get a trainer and make sure you stay on top of it because my health is my wealth, so that's how I live.
That's a great way, and it's reflective of how you're able to get around. A lot of guys are banged up. I've guys that I covered when I first started getting into the media, they're walking around, knees and hips have to be replaced. But to see you get around, that's a good message to, just move around. You have to move to live.
Just move. I mean, it's really not. It's not a perfect way to do it, right? It's just move. Just move. I don't. Some people say they run. Some people say they ride bikes. I mean, I walk up my hill in the backyard, up and down, and that shit hurts. So, and I'm sweaty and I'm tired, and that's sort of my way to get in shape.
You brought up Boss. It brings up the question you've been asked this over the years, the nickname. I'm not going to throw out your government name, but how do you get the nickname Champ? How does he go by Boss Bailey?
Well, he was named after one of our uncles. He's younger, but so he was named after one of our uncles. And that was before I got Champ. So my mom just started calling me Champ when I was 2 years old. Now, me and Boss are 16 months apart. So, for us, we grew up like we were twins. So Champ and Boss, we were always stuck at the hip. So it just kind of fit. My mom, she still doesn't have a good explanation of why she named me Champ. She said it just started. I don't know. She couldn't explain it.
Now, what's it like? I have a younger brother. When your younger brother's a little bit bigger than you are, but you're still the guy who's the older brother that has to assert dominance as such.
It's funny. Like, we didn't grow up very combative.
Okay.
Right? So we just kind of, we helped each other a lot.
No wrestling, no.
We did.
I'm watching this.
We wrestled, but by the time we got to when I got 6th grade, he was in 4th grade. We were about the same size.
Goodness.
Like, he was big, and tall, and can jump and run, and he did everything I did with my friends. So he was kind of pulled along, and fortunate enough for him, he just grew and grew and grew and got big enough to play linebacker and was excellent at it. But people don't realize he was a world-class hurdler. And, I mean, he won state. I think he got runner-up as a freshman in high school, state hurdles. And I think he ended up winning later. And then he tore his ACL. He couldn't run as a senior. But, man, he was just a freak. Freaky. I mean, 46-inch vertical. I mean, ridiculous athleticism.
And what was it like when you have dreams, look, we want to go to college, we want to play in the NFL, and you both make it. What is that like when you're both officially on NFL rosters as brothers?
Not only that, we played against each other one time. So my mom shows up to the game with the 50-50 jersey on. She had the Broncos on one side, Detroit on the other. This was back before Detroit was good. So, but we played in Detroit and they kicked our ass, man. So, yeah, they beat us pretty good. But people don't remember Boss came to Denver for 1 year. So I actually got to play with him in high school, college, and the pros. So, that was special. And, we joke about that all the time. But unfortunately, he ended up hurting his knee again that year. And I think we ended up missing the playoffs. Then I think our coach got fired.
A whole lot going on.
A lot, yeah. The Broncos were going through a transition period, and he just kind of That was the last game of his career when he got hurt.
We'll have a rapid fire 1, 2, 3 go session. Then we'll open it up to the listeners here before we're able to have them ask you some questions. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Okay. Wow. Rookie year. I got a couple, actually.
All right. Moments.
Yes, a couple. So first game in my career, and somebody asked me this question because Michael Irvin mentioned my name as covering him. People were like, ain't he way older than Champ? Like, first game of my career, I had Michael Irvin one-on-one the whole day. And that was one of those concussions that you don't tell anybody about. So he just grabbed me and just like headbutted me. It's believable though, right? Like Michael, that sounds like something he would do. Come here, young fella, and just bop, headache. And then I had to tackle Emmitt Smith, and you got to think, I grew up watching these guys, idolizing them, and now they're all on the field at the same time. It was unreal experience. First game of my career.
Is there a memorable game, Monday Night Football, playoff game?
Yeah, let me go back. My other wake-up call was Eric Moulds. You remember that name?
Yeah, from the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. Grown man.
Wide receiver, tough guy.
Oh, my God. So, for some reason, I had to cover him the whole day. Oh, my God. He was known for how strong he was. And I don't know what I did to him to piss him off. But I swear, he blocked me so hard. He had me all the way back with the cheerleaders on the sideline. I never, my shoulder still hurts today from that. Like, I'm telling you, I dislocated my shoulder like my 6th, 7th year in the league. And I think it was because of that. He started that. Dude, I tried to get off. I couldn't get off. He put me back up against the wall, up against the stands. I was like, oh, my God. I've never been treated like that in my life. So I'm usually the guy that dominates. He got me. He welcome to the NFL.
To that point, something you just said, the line between everybody's hurt in the NFL, everybody's hurt in college, but you want to be honest and give the staff the appropriate information so that they can best treat you, but you want to play as a competitor. Now that you're done with the game, how do you think that is best addressed, particularly with the seriousness that the NFL takes with concussions and the concussion protocol?
I like it. And I understand, like, as a competitor and somebody that loves to watch the game, you don't want to take the action out of it. But in hindsight, and I reflect on some of the guys I've seen get hurt and what they deal with, I think the evidence shows that you have to protect the guys. And I think the NFL is doing a pretty good job because if you watch football, these dudes are still cracking each other. Like, I just look and I'm like, I cannot believe I did that. And they're still moving around. They're bigger, faster, stronger than even when I played. And I retired 10 years ago. So, man, the game has evolved, and they put in certain measures to protect them. And I think it's warranted because when you look at how fast they move and how hard they hit, I mean, you cringe watching it. It's crazy.
Your memorable moment, playoffs, interception?
I got Brady and almost pick 6, and one of my dogs pushed me out at the 1. I won't even talk about that.
Do you get teased with one of the best guys to ever play corner? You're going to the house, you outrun everybody except one man, and you're tackled right before the pick 6.
For some reason, I had this issue with guys wanting to chase me down because not only did he chase, I never forget another Monday night game. Orlando Pace chased me down.
Big Oliver.
He didn't chase me like from behind and make me look slow. It was just he took an angle, and I didn't see it. But I'm like, you're 350 pounds. Why are you even down here?
Trying to make a name off of Champ Bailey.
And
well, he's also a Hall of Famer.
And that was my 2nd year in the league, and they had that greatest show on turf. You know, they were everything that year.
More 1, 2, 3, go. Toughest receiver you had to
Toughest?
cover. 1, 2, 3, go.
Marvin Harrison.
Why?
Peyton Manning.
Well put, sir.
Real simple.
In the NFL, the stadium and the environment you most remember?
Mile High for sure, but that's a lot of games. Let me think of a road game. Probably Philly, my early days in Washington. the most obnoxious fans.
Yeah.
And we played on that right there. Like, it was just a piece of carpet on top of cement, just like that.
Could you actually hear the fans? I know you guys are in lockdown mode and you're focused on it, but you could hear the fans.
Yes, you could hear them because they're just loud and consistent.
They loud, they throw things, they swear, and those are the ladies.
That was the same year Michael Irvin. That was the same year Michael Irvin got hurt, laying on the turf with a bad neck, and they booed him.
Santa Claus, a ninja man. Yeah, that's just how they do. Like, going back to college, the SEC. We just saw Georgia and Tennessee. You played in some mega stadiums in the SEC. Yeah. What are the stadiums in your college career that you remember most?
Auburn, and my freshman year, we went into like 20 overtimes. I don't even remember, but the game lasted forever. I think I had a fumble recovery in that game, and I started every game after that game. So it kind of propelled my career in college.
When you look at the state of the pay structure in the NFL, every time you hear somebody getting a contract, it's the largest contract in the history of the NFL for that player at that position. You're a part of that. You know, you help build the bones on which those contracts are built. What do you think when you see the money's doled out in the NFL today?
It's not the same. Things are different.
Goodness.
Look, man, I'm happy to see it. Don't get me wrong, but God, I mean, every time I see a contract, I start stretching. You know, I'm like, I gotta figure. I can fool somebody. I could get 1 out of 32.
One more third down.
Oh
you can
my
help
God!
out.
If they could just give me a few more snaps, but it just says a lot about the money that the league is making. I mean, because you don't just pay players just because, like, you paying them based off a split. And the money is ridiculous.
Football is king.
Yes, it is. Live sports in general is king.
Coaches. Who's a coach in college and coach in the pros you got the best advice from?
Best advice? Oh, man. You know, my coach in college, Greg Williams, he was my defensive back coach. And I'll candidly say he didn't really know how to teach me cornerback, but he knew how to teach me how to work. Yeah, there's a lot of coaches in college don't know how to teach.
So what does that mean as a player? They don't know how to teach me.
They're more X's and O's,
okay.
Right? It's not like how you get up and line up in front of somebody, stay in front of them, how you get out of your back pedal. Just little stuff like that. It's really detailed advice. I learned that when I got to the league, like with Darryl Green. In college, you probably saw it with some of our corners. They lack technique. It's a thing. Like, they're not polished. Let's just say that. Maybe they just haven't worked at it enough, because I really didn't get it until like my second, third year, and understanding how to be consistent with my technique. So that's what I learned in the league. And it wasn't only Dion and Darryl teaching me stuff. I had good coaches. I had Ron Meeks, great coach. I had the coach Travis Hunter has now, Ron Miles, great coach. But they were all about technique. They knew how to teach a corner, how to play corner. It's not just X's and O's.
I know the answer, so I already know it's no. But as a dog, as a former teammate of Kirby Smart, if you saw something, have you had the urge to send a text message or just say?
Oh, I always send a text.
Oh,
what do you mean?
That's why you should assume.
It's never in a negative fashion.
Okay.
It's just anything. It's just I'm just offering support, or I might comment on. I think what game was it they won? It was a game they won. It was a Kentucky game last year.
Low scoring game.
Low
defensive
scoring,
game.
close. See, those are the wins that mean the most, because you're on the verge of losing everything. If you lose to Kentucky, losing to Bama's one thing, but you lose to Kentucky, that could derail your whole season. So I find myself texting them like, yeah, just little stuff, because I know that feeling of everybody thought you're gonna go in here and blow them out. That's not always the case, man. Anybody can beat you any weekend. Anytime you line up, you can get your ass kicked. So, man, people are, and they already got a bullseye on them. So I find myself texting them more and more, just because I know it's stressful. It's stressful.
When you talk about getting out of the game, talk about your transition from going to college to the pros, and then your career is over, and then you've got to live the rest of your life. Tell us about that transition, which is completely different from the majority of your life where it's structured and you're playing football.
Oh, man, it was challenging. I mean, it still is, to be honest. I think one thing, and most athletes would probably say this, you kind of looking for that next locker room, your next team. Like, who is that? Fortunate enough for me, I got brothers that I'm close to, family that I'm close to, but it's still like, what am I gonna do? And the best thing I did was move back here because I never really understood how powerful the network that G is in this state until I lived in it for a few years. And I'm understanding it now, and I benefit a lot from it. I mean, most people I do business with either have some connection to Georgia or they remember my career at Georgia, and it's never about the league. It's Georgia. And that was 30 years ago. Like, it wasn't recent. It's just that G just has a lot of power here in this state. I mean, few things, like the lieutenant governor is a former teammate, right? Like,
you never know what the Rhodes College is going to lead you to.
Yeah, so I have people tap me all the time. Yeah, you were in my English class. Like, but what I always can be confident about is I guarantee if I had any interaction with them that it was a good one, or at least one that didn't disappoint them, That's what it's all about.
You're in the media now. You're done playing football. You've accomplished a lot. Are there things still out there that you still want to accomplish with either business, football, family, friends, or otherwise?
Not specifically. I just want the deals that I have, on my plate now to be successful, so people could look at me as a good partner, because those success stories bring more things along, right? So, I work with a group called Positive Athlete, and, ultimately that came from something I did with Burt Jones, who, put me on this government committee. I'm going around talking to different industries. I'm just really just learning, right? This is a few years back, and what I realized is, well, every room I go into is just the politicians, the business leaders, and me. I'm the most unique person in the room. So I always could steal the attention. And I'm like, damn, that's very powerful. So I start understanding the power in, playing ball at Georgia and having the career I had and understanding how to leverage it, right? Because it's not always clear, right? You could probably see it more than I could, but I have to see it and experience it in real time. And that's sort of what I've been doing. So this group I partnered with, Positive Athlete, came from me being on this committee. And we were going around asking these industries, the Hyundai, the Gulfstream, the Kia, talking to all their leaders about what their problems were with the workforce. Well, they all had the same issue. We can't get good talent. We can't retain good talent. So I'm like, well, why don't you hire athletes? Well, there's nothing out there that gives them the opportunity to do that. So a couple years later, I run into this group called Positive Athlete. And basically what we do, we recognize kids across the country, we empower them, and then we connect them with opportunities. And it's all kids from 9th through 12th grade, right? And what we do is we give them scholarships. But they have to get nominated by, let's just say you coach a football team. You can nominate as many players as you want. But obviously you're going to nominate the best ones. Right. It's not the best ones on the field. It's the best ones off the field, the best ones in the classroom, the ones that show up all the time, the ones that are consistent, right? That are going to be great leaders. So once they get into our ecosystem, that's when the opportunities come.
How do you want people to remember you as a player?
As a player?
As a player.
Oh, tough, one of the best. I mean, I think, when you look at the cornerback position, there's not a lot of guys that like to tackle, right? And I prided myself on being like that. Two guys I mentioned, Deion, Darryl Green, they hated to tackle. I won't say they hated it. They didn't like to. They just didn't like to do it.
They made business decisions.
Absolutely. Let me stay on this block, It was a lot of that. So I wanted to do something better than them. And I'm pretty sure both of them will say, they reluctantly say, that I was a better tackler than them, regardless of any other things that they were good at. And I was also good at. Tackling is one thing I know I was better at.
How do you want to be remembered as a person?
I mean, honestly, just wow, that's a tough question.
I mean,
really just somebody that, reliable, consistent, caring. I'm still giving back to my hometown, doing a lot there. That's it. I mean, ultimately, somebody that was well respected and, did what he said he was going to do, honorable, and somebody you can depend on.
What's a piece of advice you would give to a young person who has a lot of time, a lot of opportunity, and a lot of avenues to be successful like you've been in your life?
Work. Just buy into the process of whatever your goals are. Just understand what it takes to get there and then be willing to do what it takes, right? I think a lot of times people want instant success, and we see that now with this generation. They want everything right now. But the ones that I see succeeding are the ones that buy into the process. So I'm always going to go back to the work. Like, the work builds the confidence, not the other way around. You don't just get confident. Like, that's just cocky. The work builds the confidence, and over time, you start seeing the results of that. So just to keep it simple, do the work.
And lastly, for the Bulldog fans here in attendance, your overall overarching view of what Georgia is right now and what it could be for many years to come under the tutelage of Kirby Smart.
Honestly, we are the standard. And I think you can probably ask most coaches around the country that have had some winning programs. I mean, I can name a few. Dabo Swinney. I mean, let me not go down that road. All right, but you can name a few. And one thing about Kirby is he's still the same. He still coaches the same. These guys are out here getting paid a lot of money, and he doesn't back down. Like, it is not. He lets them know it's not about that. Like, it is about me getting you to play at your best and you becoming a better player. So I think him being consistent like that has to be commended.
And we can't let you go without saying go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Well, there he is. We thank you for your time here today here at Haven. We want to thank First Horizon Bank for our libations with a legend, Champ Bailey. He is a great player. He is a great friend. He is a great father, a great husband, and he is a damn good dog. And we thank you for his time here today here with Haven. We can now, if you would like, we would like to give you an opportunity. If anybody would like to ask Champ a question or two, we do have a microphone that we could pass around and allow folks to be a part of the conversation.
Testing.
I can hear you, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true, too. I was hoping whenever he was talking about modifications to college football, you'd have an opinion about the playoff system and what we have right now. Any ideas there you like?
I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But because they're ranking them 1 to 12, right?
Right.
That's how it should be.
Top 5 rank goes in, and then the following 8 or so, and sometimes the divisions are a little bit less competitive than the ones that might be ranked higher, but
I think it was pretty obvious last year
that
conference winners shouldn't get an automatic bid and a bye.
Boise State didn't need to host.
All the teams with a bye loss. So that you had to scrap that.
Right.
I never liked that. But I think they were trying to put a lot of emphasis on winning your conference. It doesn't matter. Like, put the top 12 teams in. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
In the back.
All right, I'm going to get a little detailed here. You talked about the 70-yard give up by Georgia, and you talked a lot about technique and coaches that did that. Can you please text Kirby and have him? I'm going to call people out. This is a small group right here. Daniel Harris and Ellis Robinson were in perfect position. They just didn't have the right technique on those plays. We call him and tell us what we need to do, make that happen.
So you got a request, not a question.
I got a request. It's selfish for both of us.
Hey, I feel the same way, right? All right, so the one, I'll kind of break down what I think happened. Ellis Robinson, he panicked, right? He just panicked. Like, it's hard, though. I've been in that position where you got your back turned and you're in a position where you don't know if you want to turn. He was right there. Yeah, he was. All he had to do was turn his head. He might get a pick, right? Yes. Yeah, I always say that in hindsight. Yeah. It's hard, though. It's very hard, but I understand. That takes a lot of training and a lot of confidence to turn your head when that guy's behind you. Like, yeah, I'll call it.
Better to learn that lesson
I'll take you up on that.
in a win than in a loss.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It's better to learn.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Always
Yes.
better to learn that
So
way.
I want to get off sports for a minute, and after being here and talking with you and listening, obviously your parents did something right. Your dad was in the military.
Yeah.
So tell me about your upbringing, and was there some military discipline or how your mom and dad raised you and boss and your other brother?
Well, just so you can understand the timing, we were in Kentucky for my first year and a half, and then we moved to Germany, Berlin, for like 2-3 years, I think. So when I was 5, that's when I showed up in Folkestone. And what I realized, well, I was still 5, so I'm still learning and growing, but one thing that was evident was the community was going to raise us, and I didn't really understand the power in that or whatever. I was just a kid trying to have fun and come in the house with dirty feet. That's what we did. You know, we had a bunch of dirt roads, and we stayed up and down them. But it was really everybody that raised us. So anytime we were doing something we weren't supposed to be doing, but before we even got home, somebody's already called my grandma and told her, and she tells my dad when he gets home from work, and then it was a whole community just took care of us. I mean, I lived on my grandma's property throughout my whole young life, and that's what it was, man. And when I reflect on that I don't know what I would have been without everybody helping out. It was really a community effort.
What was scarier, covering Michael Irvin or hearing somebody say, wait until your grandmother or your father finds out?
It wasn't just, it was my uncles.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, everybody would pull out that switch or whatever, belt, like
I've had both.
whatever the closest thing was, we got it all. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough love, but it was needed. We were bad.
Over here to the left.
It takes a village, right?
Say who you are, where you're from, and if you are in
Sonny
Georgia.
Hayes from here in Atlanta and live in Morningside. A question, kind of football, basketball related, because you say you do basketball and you love it, and we love both sports. We love all sports. I have an opinion. I'd like to get yours. A lot of these players, especially the NBA, and I'm a huge Hawks fan, and I see a lot of these players, and we go to games in other cities. We have an opinion that these players are coming out of school so early and they're not fully developed. Is that why so many of them in college football and basketball are getting hurt at a really high level? Is it because they're just not fully developed and they shouldn't be coming out early, or what's your opinion on that?
I think they do too much sometimes. I think they're overworked. That's just, it's just an opinion, right? But, you know, I wish we had more evidence on why that's happening. I just feel like guys specialize too much, so you're doing the same thing over and over. That's why I kind of like the variety of different sports. I was fortunate enough to be in a town where they needed me at every sport, and it forced me to play everything. I mean, because now everybody, you know, I'm trying to keep my son in everything. You know, I'm trying to keep him active, but at the same time, it's got to make sense to him. But again, I just feel like it's just too much. It's just too much. There's a couple kids on the team now, on his football team, that keep getting hurt because they're doing so much in the offseason. These are the football players. All they do is football. I'm like, you're just doing too much. You got a bad hamstring. You got, you know, now you're.
Baseball players, throwing.
Yes, the pitchers, yeah, same thing. It's you got to have some variety. Like, you just can't keep overworking. I understand you want to get better, but, you know, you got to be smart about it. Work smart, not hard.
Gentleman in the red shirt with the black hat.
Isaiah Stewart. I work with 6A, the fan. I'm a big fan. I'm also an Army brat. And then you were drafted to my favorite team in 1999. So, obviously, that didn't work out in the long run. How did that feel when they did that to you? and then so the rumors over the years is that you had a bad relationship with the team or said person. Said person.
Who was that person? Who was that?
Daniel Snyder.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who didn't?
Touche. Now that that's over with, has there been any kind of, have you gotten back with the team at all?
Okay, great question.
Here we go.
All right. So
there we go.
Let me give you the backstory here a little bit. So back in 2002, we get a new coach, Steve Spurrier, right?
Head ball coach.
Now, Dan Snyder had a reputation of just doing the glamorous thing, right? He drafted LeVar Arrington and Chris Samuels the year after I was drafted. So they're a year younger than me. They both got new deals before I got a new deal. Now, I'm a 4-time Pro Bowler in 5 years, right? Like, I've done a lot. Why didn't I get a new deal? Why? Because he didn't draft me. He took over the team after my rookie year. Well, after I was drafted. So that summer, after the spring draft, in the summer, ownership change happened.
And that's why Schottenheimer got fired, right?
No, that's why North Turner got fired.
Oh, North Turner, you're right.
And then Schottenheimer came in my 3rd year. So I had North Turner my first 2 years. Yeah, so when Schottenheimer got fired, that's when he brought in Steve Spurrier. So, damn, I hope I'm not telling too much. But at the time, after that first year, I think we went 8-8. The next year, we were on our way to going 4-12. So, but the last few weeks of the season, Steve Spurrier, or I'd say the last half of the season, Steve Spurrier was trying to get out of his contract. I'm negotiating my contract, but he's using my agent to help him get out of his contract. So I was privy to what was going on. And plus, Dan Snyder kept trying to negotiate with me. Like, no, talk to my agent. Like, what? Bringing me to his office and offering me crazy deals. I had no idea what I was looking at. But yeah, this was happening.
Well, that brings up a conversation because that just happened between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, where he invited Micah Parsons in. Come on, let's talk.
Is there much of a difference?
Nope.
Thank you.
I say no.
There's not much of a difference. Thank you.
Been a long time.
This is what I mean. Like, so I didn't necessarily want to leave because I love the fan base. I love the city. Everything was great. I just didn't have a good relationship with the ownership group. And, you know, they played around with me, offered me random contracts. Like, I would have been like the 4th or 5th highest paid corner. And I was obviously the one that had to push it higher. Like, Ty Law was telling me, yeah, don't take these deals. And he's so outspoken about it. But, you know, so I knew what I had to do in the position I was in. And we told them what we wanted, and they turned it down. They were like, no, we're not paying that. So when the trade thing came up, I still had control because they had to franchise me. I had to sign the franchise tag in order for them to trade me because I could have just held out.
Was it still like top 3 money at the time?
It was top 5, yeah, top 5. But no, I got to be here. Like, I got to set the bar because that's what we do. Like, as players, we all know, like, if you're up, you got to push it higher. Like,
to that question or to that point, nobody gets angry.
I got you. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
Yo, I got it.
Because I was going to ask, you know, to the Micah Parsons in your situation, you know, nobody ever questions when teams and ownership makes money. When it's your turn to get paid, how do you feel about taking a little less to help out the team or getting your market value?
It's not necessary. They make it seem necessary. But, you know, I think only quarterbacks sit in a position to kind of do that. Like, everybody else, man, they got the money. They got it. And it's showing now. Like, everybody's getting paid. But back to your question, I had a bad relationship with the people that were running the team, not the team itself, right? I mean, I still got a lot of friendships that lasted till to this day. I mean, but when we told Mike Shanahan what we wanted, he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. So he was smart enough to say, because Clinton Portis wanted a new deal. So Clinton went and signed the deal that I turned down, and I ended up signing my deal. But what Mike Shanahan did that was clever, he knew that he overvalued Clinton Portis. He knew that Dan Snyder did. They got the second-round pick, and they used the second-round pick on Tatum Bell, who ended up starting for us at running back and replaced Clinton Portis. Same number and everything. But, he was not the same caliber of player, but you got me in return. So it was like, it just worked out, right? Now, you ask, have I rekindled the relationship? Absolutely. Why? Because they changed ownership. So with Josh Harris and Magic and all, man, they laid out the red carpet. So I go back and they had me out for alumni weekend, I've seen the pictures. Yeah, bro. It was how it's, but this is 19 years later. Now I can complain, but check, Darryl Green waited 21 years before he went back.
Are they going to change the name back?
No. I don't anticipate it. It doesn't matter. I don't even care what the name is. Just win. Just win games. Are you friends with Portis? Yeah. Yeah, we all in this group chat together, so we chat all the time. I see him all the time now that I'm back in the fold, so yeah.
Any other questions? One last question in the back. You'll be our final question of the evening.
You can hear me, Champ?
Yeah, I got you.
So this might not have been that hard for you because you're Champ Bailey, but coming from Charlton County and then you go to UGA, how was that transition? Because I'd imagine in practice, the games in Charlton County, you fairly had to be awake to be the best player on the field. And then you're at Georgia, the SEC.
You saying I wasn't the best on the field when I got there? No. Well, to be honest, going to Georgia was easy. For one, I was a Dawg fan, but my brother was there. My older brother, Ryan, was already there. And I think he was in his third year. I think he was a redshirt sophomore, junior when I got there. But it was great. I think I quickly learned, how do I say this? Not everybody on that team deserved a scholarship. Let's just say that.
Well put.
We were not recruiting the way we should, like we do now. It was different. And I didn't realize it because I'm from Folkestone. All my boys were good. We were good. I think most of my boys could have came to Georgia and played that year. But, for me, it became evident that I was going to play because I didn't realize how athletic I was until I really got around other guys on the team. I'm like, damn. I was a high point trophy in track and all that. So I was a track athlete, jumper. I was a long jumper at Georgia. Had the school record for 20 years until Matt Boland came. So I knew I was a great athlete, but I didn't realize. I just thought everybody was, especially if you went to Georgia. So, I fit right in, and then I excelled from there.
All right. Well, that will conclude our question and answer. Oh, I'm sorry, Lori. Sure. That everybody's done. I think we have circled the room. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
That was great.
And your questions with Champ Bailey. We'll
Thank
turn it
y'all.
over now to
Appreciate it.
Lori from First
Appreciate
Horizon Bank.
Okay, you guys, I learned a lot tonight about football, about character, about how to pronounce the Bronco Nagurski Award.
getting there. You're getting
Yes,
there.
I'm getting there.
Nagurski.
But I also learned about Folkestone, Georgia, which I didn't know existed. So thank you so much, Champ. And thank you, Brandon, for a great interview. We really appreciate
he's the best.
I mean, honestly, I'm in awe of the career, and I just learned so much about you, about father, coaching. I think it was great. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Thank you so much. And I would say that this is one of those perfect evenings because Georgia won on Saturday. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Sorry, Carrie.